What's poppin', my Freeform Renegades? You are tuned into the Freeform Network. Thanks for joining us for another fun episode of Freeform Radio. I'm your host, Noel, with my co host, Daniel.
Yes, sir, man. Just got out of church. Took a little longer than usual, but we're set up, ready to go, man.
Very nice. And we got Andy here.
It's all good, Andy. I'm glad we're all back together. Let's get going.
Most assuredly, man. And we got another beautiful day here in Chicago. The weather's finally getting good. Got a little, smoke and stuff, I think, coming from Canada. But anyway, wherever you listeners are, we hope you're relaxed and feeling good. And we're just going to jump right into this one. Start off with Daniel here. And it looks like you finished the Floor TV game show. Now, what is this about?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys ever saw this. It's a Fox property. It's called The Floor. I have Hulu as part of my T-Mobile package. So me and Alana were looking for stuff to watch, and lo and behold, they have the TV show The Floor. It sounds like you've never heard about it, Noel. Have you even heard about it at all, Andy?
I have not.
Okay. The quick one too on The Floor is there's 100 players. They each have a spot on this map on the floor, just like a grid map, and each player has a specialty. So, like, I could have a specialty called podcast, or podcaster or something, and each person picks their own specialty. And at the start of the show, it's hosted by Rob Lowe. There's like a randomizer that goes around and picks the people on the floor. So the person that gets selected with the randomizer, he can challenge anybody that's around his block. So he's got, what is it? One, two, three. So like 8 choices. So he's got 8 choices to pick from, and he challenges that person in their expertise. They go up to this like main platform, and then there's like, I don't know, I think it's like 45 seconds on the clock. And then in that 45 seconds, depending on what their specialty is, things are flashed on a screen. And you have to say it, elect it, or something, like let's say podcast was, I'm trying to describe this whole show to everybody that hasn't seen it. But for a podcaster, they would show like a microphone, and you would have to shout out microphone. And then they would show an editor software, and then you would have to shout out editing software, and so on and so forth. So they would show things pertaining to your subject, and you have to alternate back and forth and shout out the answer. So anyways, this show, we decided we're just going to watch like an episode or two, kind of test it out. We've never seen the show before, and it got really addicting, man. These people that are out there, they have like personalities, so you're rooting for people to win, you're rooting for people not to continue to go on further, and as people win, they take over the cube that they challenged, and their grid keeps getting bigger and bigger. They keep challenging people that surround their boundary, and they can pick from any one of those expertise. The season that we watched was season 2, because I heard the actor from Clerks was on there, Dante. I forget the actor's name now, but
So, is this a show or like a reality show or a game show?
No, it's a game show. Like
Okay.
I mentioned, it's the Floor TV game show. So it's like a Family Feud, or
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune. But that's the premise of the TV show game. And some people have really challenging, subjects. Like one guy had like thermodynamics as his specialty. So, people kind of try not to challenge him. And as you win other people's, as you challenge other people, you keep your category. But if they challenge you and you beat them, then you take over their specialty. So if Noel would
Okay.
have challenged me and I had podcasting, well, we're going to play podcasting. But then if I beat Noel, then I would take his specialty or whatever he elected. So it's fun because you see these contestants that they lose their specialty, and then they have to quickly adapt to the new specialty from the person they just beat. So it becomes very challenging towards the end, because a lot of these people end up getting like the specialty boy bands, and it's just like, well, I know like Backstreets and New Kids on the Block stuff, but I don't know everything, so you go up and you have to challenge the other person depending on the specialty that you just picked up from winning. So, anyways, the clerk guy, he actually ended up winning quite a bit because whoever has the most landmass of blocks accumulated at the end of the show or at the end of every episode, they end up winning $10,000. And the clerks guy ended up winning or 20,000, something like that. I can't remember. He ended up winning like 140K. So
Whoa.
he came out with quite a bit of winnings, and the grand prize, if you make it towards the very end, is $250,000. So people were definitely
Damn.
trying to be strategic towards the end because they wanted to be the last player standing to win $250,000. I don't really watch too much game show host. I mean, if Family Feud is on, that's kind of interesting with what's his name, Steve
Steve
Harvey.
Harvey?
Yeah, I think he's funny, and Alana really digs him. So we like watching that if we're flipping through channels and it's on. But there's not really any other game shows that I really watch nowadays anymore. So I found it very intriguing. We watched the entire thing. The guy that won at the end wasn't the guy that we wanted, but it was a pretty good TV show. Definitely a watch for you guys out there, especially if you have Hulu. I think they're on their third season now, but we watched the second because I had heard the Clerks actor was part of the TV show. So it was really cool, and actually Alana really dug him. And I was just like, "Oh, you really like the actor? We should watch Clerks." And she's like, "I don't know if that Kevin Smith wrote it, I probably won't like it." So she didn't like him that much, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
There, there's a thing real quick going on with two game shows that are still on, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. So there's an issue with the distribution deal,
Uh huh.
and they haven't been come to an agreement between Sony, who owns the show, and CBS or something like that. Uh, they haven't struck a deal on to get it onto TV, so there's like a delay in getting new episodes out. But apparently, Sony struck a deal with Hulu to air all the new shows, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, and the old shows to be on demand, or they're gonna have like a channel or something like that on Hulu, just dedicated to game shows because apparently that's still very popular. I haven't really watched. I know my wife for a while was still watching Wheel of Fortune, but she hasn't. She's more into court TV shows. But and just interesting that game shows are still around. I think the last show where I kind of watched that was new. They remade Press Your Luck. No whammies.
All right.
And I think it came out a couple during the pandemic. I think it was like the last show that I watched, where it's like I think it was on ABC.
Yeah. There was quite a few TV shows, and you always see new ones springing on. Guess the next set of lyrics, and just a bunch of different random TV shows that they're inventing. Are you a TV show, game show watcher, Noel?
Uh, there was a time where when I was younger, I did watch a few. Family Feud was cool. Jeopardy was interesting. And then obviously the Nickelodeon stuff when I was like a kid. I think it was Figure It Out or something like that. Like, those were cool shows. But modern day, I haven't really watched too many. Um, I want to say my favorite one out of all of them though was probably what is it called? How to Be a Millionaire? What is it called?
Oh
The
yeah, yeah,
game
Yeah,
show
Who
where
Wants to Be a Millionaire?
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was probably my
with
favorite one.
Phoebus Realman or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Rebus or whatever.
that
Yeah,
was a good one with
Regis.
you got a lifeline and a bunch of other things to kind of help you get along. Yeah. To me, as a kid, I always dug watching Double Dare because I always imagined myself as a kid going up there, but then probably getting embarrassed by my family, not knowing any of the answers. But yeah,
You think if you had to pick the nose to get the flag, then you would be successful?
heck yeah, I'd be all up in them boogers trying to get
That
whatever.
that thing always creeped me out as a kid. I'm like, damn. And then you see them digging in there, and I'm like, how hard is it to find a flag and all that, and that big
Right.
honker?
I really want to get that BMX bike that they're gonna give you or whatever. But yeah, the Floor TV game show. Not really into game shows nowadays, but definitely was pretty entertaining and watched it to the end. other thing I wanted to bring up, I know you're a fan, Andy, and I had brought up that I was watching it a while back, but yeah, I finally finished Mad Men, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a very interesting show. I know that you had kind of not given me a ton of details on it because I don't like to be spoiled, but you kind of mentioned how the later seasons kind of go down a little bit. And I got to kind of agree with that a little bit, that I did tend to, that the last season or two was a little lower quality than the rest. I'm not sure if they just ran out of subjects to talk about, but it was a good TV show, and the ending was very unique and very kind of cool how they tied it back into reality, and I really dug it. We never talked about the ending, Andy. What did you think about the very end of this TV show?
So I don't know how much you know. I mean, we're getting little spoilers here. That Coca-Cola commercial that they
Right.
show at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So when that commercial came out, it was like considered like one of the greatest
Right.
commercials
Like revolutionary.
advertising, yeah, ever produced. And so they're kind of hinting that Draper came up with that, right? And I think through all the crap he's been through and everything he went through after he went to the cool laid back West Coast, he got refreshed and he came up with that commercial, and like that's how it ends, right? Because everybody else, they were all obsessed with the New York East Coast, the Madmen thing, and they're all worried about money, what they're gonna do next, and they've been through so many changes, and he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." And he went to California and and just went through what he went through. I mean, Draper's always been kind of laid back throughout the seasons, but early on, you kind of, when you figure out who he really is and all that, and how he grew up and what he went to the war that he never wanted to go to and all that stuff, it was a pretty good ending, I thought. In the beginning, you gotta dig into it to have like somewhat of an understanding, but at the end, it's just like it makes sense for Draper.
Yeah, I never knew about the Coca Cola commercial at all until I watched the show. But after the show was over and I saw that commercial, and I'm like, what? Coca Cola? Is this a real thing? And then I Googled it, and then, yeah, I found out that it was a real commercial that they based the ending off of. So, yeah, a little bit more spoilers, but I always told Delana after like a season or two and that we got hooked, I told her, I'm like, I bet you the show ends with him jumping out of the high rise and killing himself because, the intro has him falling out of that high
Yeah,
rise. And
yeah.
I always thought, I'm like, yeah, that's going to be the ending. He's going to, commit suicide because he was always a guy that got great luck and would have these like upswings, but then he would always have these downswings as well in his life. And I'm like, in one of those downswings, he's gonna commit
He
suicide.
was not self-destructive, but he had issues which would mess his personal life and his career. But man, when he was on firing on all cylinders, he was pretty good. Even when he still had to battle people within his company advertising to get what he wanted, and even his clients when he would try to explain stuff to them. And you could see like this is not gonna work. This is outdated. And he would do new stuff, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's not us." Like, and he was. I don't want to say he was a complicated character, but he had he was. I don't want to say a genius to a point, but all geniuses, some people say they're mad or crazy. So, and you kind of see that in Draper,
Yeah, for sure.
even with his personal life.
Was this a show that you even watched, Noel, or you're even interested in?
I am aware of it, but I know people liked it and all that, and I think it did really well, like critically acclaimed and all that, but I never got around to watching it. Um, is this the one that's like based in like a time period of like the 60s or 70s?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the
for sure.
'60s.
And I think that's what really intrigued me. It's like that old school mindset, raising your kids where your friends and family and your community help raise your kids, and they would smack these kids around when it wouldn't even be their kids, but they would be doing bad stuff, and the parents would be totally cool. And that is something that is like super foreign nowadays, where you can't touch another kid's kid. Like if Andy's kid was misbehaving, I would feel uncomfortable hitting him or disciplining him. And where back in the day, stuff like that would happen all the time, and it was just acceptable. It's like, why is the kid messing up instead of why is the another parent disciplining my kid? So there was a lot of stuff like that, a lot of smoking, a lot of drinking at work, and I'm just like, man, there's just like all these little things that just don't happen anymore. So it was definitely a good, cool timepiece, something to definitely watch. But Andy, let's jump over to your subject here, man. You had wrote in here L.A. ICE protest. Now, I didn't hear about this until this morning. I was not really on social media yesterday, but I jumped on today just to see what was going on, and I noticed there's some protests in L.A. Fill us in on what you know, man.
So yeah, I mean, this was gonna bound to happen with Trump getting elected, and it was the ICE early on. People didn't like it, but in California, Southern California, especially like LA, I think there was these big protests. They had these big raids on Thursday and Friday, allegedly. There's still some dispute what I saw as of this morning. But as of last night, as this recording, Trump signed a memorandum deploying 2,000 National Guardsmen to address the lawlessness in California that are opposing the demonstrations on ICE operations continue in the state. And the spokesman goes, in the wake of this violence, California's feckless Democrat leaders have completely abdicated the responsibility to protect the citizens. That is why the president has signed a presidential memorandum deploying 2,000 National Guardsmen to address the lawlessness that has been allowed to fester. So when I read that, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then I think Newsom said that Trump has taken over the National Guard in California, or he deferred to him or something. He didn't want. I don't know. That's like some allegedly some uh, conflicting reports, and that has been an issue. And the mayor said some stuff too that this is just another escalation of what's going on. And he goes, earlier, California Newsom said the federal government was moving to take over the California National Guard, calling the move purposely inflammatory and saying it would escalate tensions. So what started all this, from what I gathered, they were doing some raids um, on Thursday and Friday, and people started protesting um, the raids in front of the ICE detention centers. They were protesting outside Saturday, and they were allegedly a lot of people got there to protest, and they weren't allowing ICE people to leave the building or vehicles, and they started doing stuff and throwing. There's videos of people throwing stuff, and it just kind of got worse and worse. And um, so yeah, it escalated pretty quickly. And then Trump said in social media post that California lawmakers can't do their jobs, and the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Um, and then the Paramount mayor said that the news conference that agents were staging, not conducting a raid. So that's another thing, conflicting thing that I'm seeing. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is gonna happen, and then you read the Twitterverse, people have their 2 cents, and I don't know if it's gonna get worse, like how this summer's gonna be. I mean, pretty much people would see the raids. We seen them where the next town over where I live, which has a lot of has a big Hispanic community in Chicago, and you would hear stuff that they were doing raids or arrests or whatever. Even I was reading that on Friday there was raids in Elk Grove Village, or Saturday. So this is like an ongoing effort, and some people are starting to push back, and it's gonna just continue. There's no end. I know Trump. made some thing saying if you leave, we'll give you $1,000 and you can still come back all through. We do it all legal like and stuff like that. And I don't know how many people took that money. I know a lot of people were leaving, and it's getting a little weird. I know I was telling my wife she was getting all freaked out. Once they start using the words lawlessness and things like that, the with verbiage like that, you know what's next after that, right? They're gonna start saying words like national security, and then they're gonna start using words like terrorism stuff. And once you get into that, I'll fucking that's when it gets really scary for me because that once they use those words, we know what they can do and the guise of national security and to protect people. It's when you start really losing rights, even if you're an American citizen. So, and there has been some mistakes where they arrested American citizens, and then the process takes a couple days, but there is some issues. But overall, everybody that do have been here. I mean, technically, what the law is, they've been here illegally, and they've been deporting them, and it's just getting things are escalating. I don't know how much you guys followed those protests. I was kind of shocked to see when I got home yesterday, all this stuff was going on, and he was signing. He was like, "Why is Trump sending the National Guard?" I thought the governor had to do that, and it wasn't the governor; it was Trump. So that was kind of like to me raised an eyebrow. I'm like, What's all that about?" So there's some shit going on, and Trump's already using words like, "We're gonna have to step in here to handle this shit," and to me, that's like, oof, that's how civil wars start. So I don't know. What do you guys think, or what have you heard, or did you guys? I know Danny mentioned you didn't really know. You stayed off the news yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, to me, the only other thing that I could bring up is I know here in Chicago, state of Illinois, there was a riot also, but I think it was on Thursday, where some people did get a little upset because ICE came in and grabbed a few people. But from what I hear from the news, and I didn't dig in any more into it, but the news was saying that they were kind of bamboozled into coming in and getting deported. That they told them, "Hey, come in so you can renew your paperwork. Come into the office at so and so time for your appointment." And that like a group of people came in to do that because they wanted to extend their legal process to try to get citizenship or whatever they were trying to do, get updated visas. And in doing so, that ICE came in, swooped them up, and then took them out of here and took them to detention centers. At least that's how the news was selling it. But it was all fresh and brand new on Thursday when I listened to it on Friday. So I'm not sure if any more updates have come out from that. But yes, ICE is clamping down. I don't know if it would be civil wars, but definitely things like this do kind of spark civil unrest. We saw it with what was his name, George Floyd, and all the civil unrest that brought up. I don't know if it would be any kind of civil war, but definitely could cause chaos for a few weeks or a few months.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't think it'll lead to a full-blown civil war. Um, could it someday get to that point? Hopefully it doesn't, but I mean, it happened before. It's not to say it can't ever happen again. And I think I get where you're coming from, Andy. And if they institute martial law, yeah, that pretty much means like a lot of our rights are just thrown out the window. So hopefully they don't do that. But it's complicated, man. It's really
Yeah,
complicated
it's
because
complicated. Yeah,
on one hand, if I were to go to any other country in the world, if I were to go to France, if I were to go to Spain, if I were to go to Italy, and I just show up, they could deport me too. And it would they would be in their complete right to do so. Like I have no business being there. I don't have approval or anything like that. While these are like imaginary lines that are held up by governmental enforcement, we the governments exist, and so we still have to like kind of respect that. That's just how it goes, man. Um, I'm blessed to have been born here and like just be you know an American citizen. Other people don't have that, you know, um, that luck, I guess. They were born in other places where it was difficult, and they wanted to come here for a better dream, and a better future. But there has to be a right way to do it, and there is options for that. So when you go and circumvent that and you like skip all that, I mean, these are the consequences. It's tough, but it's just how it goes. Like I don't really. I'm on the humanitarian side. I want people to be able to chase the American dream, have their opportunity as well. But there has to be a proper process, like a protocol to do it. Like the same way if I wanted to go any other country, I need to look up what I need to do to be able to be allowed there and travel
That's
there
the
and get
thing.
approved.
There is. It's just it takes time, and a lot of people are impatient, and then a lot of people, claim to hate America, but if you open those doors, as we saw under Biden, they'll come here. They'll come here and take a full advantage of what they're offering them, and I think a lot of American people were shocked to see that, and they were like, "What is going on?" And then they weren't getting any type of help, and not that they need it, but some do, and they saw people from other countries coming here and getting all that type of support financially, getting fed, getting paid rent, getting health care. And there's people in in America or in this country where they make decisions if they should go to the doctor or not if they don't because they got to pay 180 bucks to see a doctor, or they go to a clinic and they're gonna wait all day to just be told they're sick and you need to get this medicine that might be expensive. You don't know. So I think that was one of I tell my wife and other people that's one of the reasons why Trump got in on top of the economy. But you see the comments, a lot of people is like, "This is what I want. This is what I voted for," and it's. I'm like, like I feel bad for him, but also it's just like, are we not a land of laws and stuff? Like this is stuff that they just it's just part of it, man. And this country goes through that. We have we love hate relationship with immigrants, unfortunately, and we always go through this stuff where they round up people and they deport them when they think there's too many of any particular ethnicity or race that's here, especially people from Europe. When they came here there was backlash in the 50s and 60s when the Hispanic people started coming here. There was a backlash, and now for a while was with the Muslims or Arabs and even the Jews, and it's just like a cycle that goes through here. And when things are good, people are like willing to accept stuff, but when things are bad economically, that's when all this crap starts happening. I just hope they. The problem is all this stuff is done really. The Homeland Security Secretary, that lady, Naomi or whatever, Naomi, she came out and said everything is done by the book. We did. We went to a judge. We followed the process to get what we needed to do, the warrants or whatever, and we have every legal authority and right to arrest these people. So it's hard, man, and that's one thing they do great here is when they get everything their ducks in a row. It's very hard to challenge that. And that's why you see people like, oh, if they show up, don't open the door, don't talk to them, ask them to see whatever paperwork. But sometimes you see that, and sometimes you don't. You see everybody sees videos, but generally, I think a lot of the people are getting arrested. Yeah, it's kind of sucks, but they got them, and what's gonna happen is gonna happen, even though they have families here and all that other stuff. I know Trump early on was talking about amnesty if you pay a fine or something. I don't know if he did that or not, but you haven't heard much of that talk in a while. So who knows what's gonna happen? Yeah, it sucks, man. And like we all know people that are going through this, and families here. My teacher or my wife deals with it a little bit more, not more, but it's more in her face because a lot of the kids that are there, they came when Biden was here, and they kind of know what's going on, and I'm interested to see when the new school year starts how that is going to be, how that schoolroom is going to be impacted. So, let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com. It's definitely Noah's right. It's a complicated situation, but
I
yeah,
mean, Andy, just to wrap it up, I kind of understand our parents were immigrants to this country, but it was a difficult process for them to come over here, become legal citizens, and they went through those processes. So it does take time, and unfortunately, it's just the byproduct. You can't just go to, like Noel said, France and just pitch a tent and be like, "Yeah, I'm here now." They'll kick you out. So, yeah, it kind of sucks the whole situation,
then he cold as ice, bro.
right?
If we get money, if we report them, maybe I don't know. It's the American way, right, to get paid on other people's misery. Yeah, man, let us know again. It sucks. I'm trying to make a joke, but yeah, man, it's rough to see. And sometimes I would always say use the courts to help you in this situation. But I don't know how fast that whole thing is. That's one thing I don't know how fast they deport you if you go in front of a judge, or if they even do that. I don't even know. It's like, are you leaving or what? And then they just tell you can't come back for 20 years, and then they just get shipped off, unless you're like a criminal. But if they're rounding up people who have been working and with families, yeah, that's the whole situation. I don't know yet. I know about they were tricking them to come in, and then they were just getting rounded up, and so yeah, it's difficult, man. But let us know what you guys think. Let's lighten it up here a little bit. Noel finished Andor, Rogue One, and Star Wars in 4K. I think Rogue One is the movie, Andor is the show, and Star Wars the movie on 4K. Um, I've been thinking about rewatching some of those again. Noel, what did you think in 4K? Was it worth it?
100%, man. So I didn't watch Rogue One for a long time because I heard Andor was coming out, and so I'm like, let me just wait until the show wraps up and then I watch Rogue One. And I think that was the right call because I got to see it like all in a chronological, like forward momentum. So Andor season one wrapped up a couple years ago, and it was really good, man. A good introduction, good character development, decent story, and in the Star Wars universe. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but I grew up, in a family of people that liked it, so it was like part of my childhood growing up too. And so Andor being a prequel to the original Star Wars movie, I'm like, this will probably be a really good thing to get into because I wasn't the biggest fan of the episode one, two, and three, and I haven't even watched episode what is it, seven, eight, and nine, the newest
Like
trilogy that came
11?
out.
Wow.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't. It didn't just. I didn't like it. Like it just didn't gel with me. The characters I didn't care about, and then all the backlash that they got and all the things I heard about what they did to the characters that were, I guess, near and dear to a lot of people that like the franchise. I was like, yeah, this is not how you treat, your fan base, man. You don't just rap on what was originally there. There wouldn't be the opportunity for a new trilogy if it wasn't for the OG stuff. So, being that Andor is like a prequel to, I guess, a New Hope, I was like, yeah, let me watch Andor season one, two. I'll watch Rogue One, and then I finally got through and watched Star Wars the OG, the 77 in 4K. And yeah, dude, I had to say, like, the quality is really good. And the restoration was like masterfully done, man. It just looks like it looks like it was always in 4K, and like this release was just recently released. But it's obviously, the 1977 version with Mark Hamill, Alec Guinness, and uh, what's his name from Chicago, Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, yeah.
And
So
so yeah,
did Han shoot first in the 4K?
he did, yeah, and that's why
Okay.
he's still alive. That's why he's still alive, dude. It,
So,
it was kind of strange too, because like he kind of ducked a little bit. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Rogue One and Star Wars, those are movies, but Andor, that's a TV show, right? Or is that a movie too?
So Andor is the TV show that kind of sets up the events of Rogue One.
Okay.
So it's two seasons. I want to say about 10 episodes each, something like that, 8 to 10 episodes, and each episode just gives you more and more lore and backstory, and it sets up like the whole creation of the Death Star. This is before it even existed. So there's the rebellion, the formation of the rebellions, and like the formation of Emperor Palpatine and all that, and his power, and how little by little the Senate, loses their ability to keep order and stuff. And it's essentially like it gets political, but you also have a lot of action. And the main character, Cassian Andor, um, he is like a spy for the rebellion, and it gives his backstory and all that. I don't want to spoil anything if you guys are going to watch it, but they kind of use him to be infiltrate, like, because he's such a good spy. He's so convincing. He can dress up like an imperial, officer, and get through like some security checkpoints to get things accomplished, right? To accomplish certain missions to benefit the rebellion. And so in the very end of it, they're trying to, in Rogue One, they're trying to find the plans of the Death Star. So those plans are given to Princess Leia at the very end of it all. And that's what sets up Star Wars, the original. So it kind of just all ties together. So if you like the original Star Wars, Andor season one, two, and Rogue One, all that just give it more weight, like more like meat on the bones, you know what I mean? So it's gives it more stuff there to digest. And so when you watch Star Wars again, it just means more. Like you understand what's going on, and it's not like you're just thrown into it. Because whoever watched the original Star Wars when it came out, they're probably like, "What is going on?" Like it already seems like the world's developed and everything is. You're like in the middle of a story, but then when you watch Andor, Rogue One, and all that, it like sets it up so you kind of know like where it came from, how we got here, and then it shows Vader too in Rogue One, so it was cool to see that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for Andor. So you say you liked it because
yeah,
I watched the Han Solo movie. I forget what they call it. I think it's Solo, and I didn't really care for that. But then when I watched Rogue One, it made me excited again. I'm like, okay, this is a good movie. I like this. So I'm excited to watch Andor, but I haven't seen it. So it's good to know that it gives Star Wars a little more details. So when you watch that, you're like, oh, okay, this is where that leads into this.
yeah, man. So you have seen Rogue One then?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen Rogue One, and
Okay.
that one was really good. I wasn't excited for it because I had watched Solo first, so I was kind of like, this isn't gonna be that good. But after watching Rogue One, I was really excited that okay, this is a good movie. They still got good Star Wars stories to tell, and I haven't heard too much about Andor, so I was kind of excited, not excited to watch it. But yeah, if you liked it, maybe I'll have to give it a watch.
Oh, for sure, man. And you're gonna get a lot of characters from the movie in the TV series, so it really does feel like just a whole cohesive, you know, explanation of the events. And the villains are great. They've developed the characters really well, but yeah, I would give it, let's say, like an 8.3.
Okay.
It's not perfect, and the ending of Rogue One kind of let me like I felt sad. Like after the whole thing, I was just like, oh man, like it's just whenever you get into like a show or you like certain characters, you kind of root for them, and you hope for like the best outcome for them, right? So Rogue One, yeah, it
It
was
had
good, but yeah,
it had like an Empire kind of vibe at the end, kind of like where like this is kind of sad, but it was satisfying. I thought.
yeah, yeah, and it even shows like a better representation of the Death Star's capabilities because in the show and in the movie, it's not like Star Wars the original one where it shoots the laser beam and then the whole planet explodes. Like it's just this shows it like a nuclear explosion almost. It causes ripples and waves and just destroys everything in its path. And you see it coming towards you, and it's just the dread you feel because you know you can't escape it. And that whole thing was cool, man. I think they really represented it very well. The potency and the power of the Empire and the Death Star. But anyway, shifting on real quick, one thing I watched recently as well. I got the physical media. You already know that's my jam right now. I got the Kickboxer 4K Steelbook edition. It's got this like lenticular, like holographic thing in the front on the slip cover. So when you like move it left to right, it shows like Van Damme doing like a kick. So it's pretty cool. The 4K restoration, like they're on a roll right now, and all these 4K restorations, man, it's like it came out yesterday, dude. It looks so clear, and the colors are great. And I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen Kickboxer, right?
Billion times.
Yeah,
How about you? Yeah.
it's been a long time since I watched it, and to be honest, I didn't really like it that much. To be when I watched it back in the day.
Oh, really?
Come
Yeah,
on, man.
I mean it's okay, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a Karate Kid. It wasn't like Rambo or Rocky, or it didn't like fall into that '80s category for me. But it was okay.
Yeah, no, to me, it's one of my favorite Van Damme movies. He was on a roll in the late 80s, early 90s, up until like Time Cop. I think after that he kind of fell off.
Yeah, I saw
He,
Time Cop in the movies, dude. That was a disappointment, trust me. In the
yeah,
theater.
and then like there was like drama around like he turned down some offers for millions of dollars they were offering him, and he wanted more money. And I think after that they kind of like just relegate him to like the B movies, which is why like his career kind of just took a nosedive after that one. But anyway, Kickboxer is kind of what helped kick off his career. He was in Bloodsport, he was in Kickboxer, Lionheart. These are like some of his best roles, Hard Target, all that. So um, yeah, I just only have a few of his movies, but when I saw Kickboxer was on sale for the 4K, like I had to get it, dude. And then it's good, man. If you guys like Van
Is
Damme,
is there anything extras in there, like any bonus shit, like deleted scenes or
um,
alternate? Because it is a movie. Yeah, I mean, there's it's an '80s movie, but there's a couple, if I recall, there's a couple things with his brother and all this. Uh, he used to be like this, if I remember correctly, like he was a fighter too, and they talk about it a little bit, if I remember in the movie, and I don't know if there's like extra stuff about him fighting or anything, or in an actual fight besides where he gets fucked up.
So yeah, looking at the back of the case here, it looks like there's audio commentaries, there's interviews with multiple actors, and looks like the director as well. The trailer, TV spot, a gallery. It's got the Blu-ray with special features, got the
Mm.
international version, and then
Oh.
of course the 4K movie and special features. So it's a decent amount for where you get out of it, and the quality, like I said, is really good, man. That's really the bulk of the reason why I got it. I do like special features as well, but initially I just got it because I like the movie in general, and the whole kickboxing style, and them being in Thailand and him training to beat Tang Po. Like it was cool, man. Um,
No, yeah, it's a good movie. I know Danny's like, fuck that movie, but it's actually, I remember watching that first time like on cable. I want to say like TBS or something, but it was on cable all the time when I was a kid, and it was along with like Roadhouse and Bloodsport. So to me, they have when I watch them, it's like they never disappoint, even though I watched them a million times.
Yeah, I like how I
yeah.
said that it was okay, and Andy says I hate it.
And then
That's what he
Danny's
got from it.
verbiage, that means it sucks.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, I'm curious though. If you were to rewatch it now, maybe you might like it
No,
more.
no,
I
he's gonna hate it more.
to be honest, I probably would like it. I just remember that big trucker guy, the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, was in it. Um,
That's Bloodsport.
oh yeah, that's Bloodsport. I'm
We're
thinking
talking
of.
about
Yeah,
Kickboxer, where his brother,
yeah,
I don't know if he gets paralyzed, but he got fucked up.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
he gets paralyzed.
Yes.
So he's a world champion, well,
Yeah.
American world champion,
Hmm.
right? But then they start like giving him interviews afterwards, like, "Hey, there's people in Thailand that've been doing it their whole life. Like, what do you think about that?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Ah, I'll beat anybody." He gets all cocky.
American cockiness. Yeah.
It's kind of like when what's his name got killed in Rocky Four,
Hmm.
Apollo.
Oh yeah,
It was like
yeah.
he just, underestimated this dude and came out there against Tong Po and he messed him up horrendously, dude. And actually had my parents watch it too because I had the digital code with the movie. So I gave them the digital code for Fandango and so they could watch it on their TV and they actually liked it too, man. So I think yeah, if you get a chance, man, you should rewatch it.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a chance. I'll put it on my to-do list, and maybe I'll let you know in the next episode.
Sounds good, man. Well, anyway, I think that wraps things up for our weeks. So let's just go ahead and get into the article of the week. All right, so we got an article here from NPR. So the article reads, Two men were found dead from exposure after looking for Sasquatch. So this is a little bit of an older article. This came out back at the end of 2024, December 29th. And I'm just going to read through it. It's a really quick article, so not too much length on here, but just kind of want to get your thoughts on it after we read it here. So I'm going to read it pretty quickly. Two men from Oregon went missing after going on a search for Sasquatch have been found dead, Washington state officials announced Saturday. The men, both from Portland, were reported missing by a family member on Christmas Day and were set to return from searching for the legendary creature in eastern Skamania County on Christmas Eve, according to the county sheriff's office. A search was launched and a vehicle associated with the two men was found off a road near Willard, Washington. After a 3-day search involving 60 people or more, the bodies of both men, 37 and 59, were found in Gifford Pinchot National Forest, located in the southwestern part of Washington state in a heavily wooded area, according to the Skamania County Sheriff's Office. Their cause of death appears to be because of exposure based on weather conditions and ill preparedness, the sheriff's office said. The area had faced rounds of snow and rain with temperatures in the 30s across the Cascades in the days leading up to the men being reported missing. The search for the men also took place amid difficult terrain and harsh weather conditions, as crews faced conditions such as freezing temperatures, snow, high water levels, law enforcement said. Sasquatch, commonly known as Bigfoot, is a large hairy figure that resembles a human and is thought to live in the northwestern parts of the U.S. and Canada. The existence of Bigfoot has been debated for decades, and many have reported sightings of the creature. More than 700 reports of Bigfoot sightings in Washington have been submitted to the Bigfoot Fields Research Organization, the group says. In Skamania County, harming Bigfoot is punishable up by $1,000 fine and can include jail time, according to the county's Chamber of Commerce. A law meant to protect the mysterious creature and prevent hunters with large beards from
Yeah, it's
accidentally
a
getting
dick,
shot.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, that part at the end made me pop. I was just like, holy shit.
Sounds like you don't like guys with beards. Yeah.
Oh man, so what do you guys think about all this?
Dude, I could totally understand the ill preparedness part of it. I don't know if I ever said it on the podcast, but when we first moved into Lake County, we're like, oh man, we're like in the woods. Let's go out and just start climbing shit and start walking through shit. So we drove to like this national forest area, and there's a path that you can walk. And in the map, the little pictorial that they show us, it doesn't look that bad. And it did say the miles, but I wasn't really even paying attention. So me and Alana Jr., we start walking. Dude, all we got like is one water bottle. And I got nothing to eat. And the thought was we have like an hour or two before noon and we're going to go eat lunch after our walk. Dude, it took us close to 2 hours to do the entire walk. And by the end, dude, my sugars were crashing. I felt like shit. I literally thought, I'm like, they're going to have to get some help and come pick me up. I'm just going to sit right here and lay on the floor. I felt really
Man.
like shit, and
You're like, I
luckily,
need a double cheeseburger ASAP.
right, I needed somebody to go to McDonald's stat, give me
Uh-huh.
a chicken sandwich or something. But yeah, man, I could totally understand that portion of it.
Man.
No,
Now
yeah,
you're
the
yeah.
go ahead, Noel.
Now I was just gonna say, man, you're lucky that you weren't like in a really far secluded area. Like you're still somewhat near civilization, you know?
Yeah, for sure. We were lucky that I just kind of toughed it out. We took breaks, and I didn't think it was going to take us 2 hours to walk the entire thing. And unfortunately, it's like a big loop. So by the time you're like halfway through the loop, you're like you're committed or you're pot committed. You might as well finish the loop. Otherwise, it's the same to walk backwards. So we were just stuck, and we're just like, we just got to do it.
Yeah, man, like you said, you're pack committed. I've done some of those walks where I live by the river. There's like this long um walking path for walkers and people who ride their bikes. And the problem there's a lot of deer, and the deers in the spring or in the fall they have their dons, their foes or whatever, and they pretty protective of everything. So it could get a little dangerous. Uh, so people just want any deer walks back with a kid or whatever, they everybody just stops in place because they don't want to get fucked up. Um, but yeah, going back to the article, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would have been. I would like to know more if the people who went looking for Bigfoot or the Yeti, if they were longtime Yeti hunters, or are they just
Cryptozoologist.
yeah, like who are these people? They're just like, oh, dude, let's fucking go look for Bigfoot, and they take like a 12 pack in a fucking tent, and then they're just fucking out there, just walking around all stupid. So that's like my thing, because the guy was pretty in his last sentence, like being kind of a dick from the article that he wrote. Um, so that's my only thing. Like, do they have footage? Were they recording? Or are they just taking pictures? Because the northwest part of this country, the United States. It is a Bigfoot area. Southern California, Northern California, I mean, is another Bigfoot area. So out on the west coast of this country, it's a lot of sightings, and I know there's a lot of people go out there looking for them. So I don't know, like I said, if they're amateurs or if they've done it in the past, but I've they died or they got lost or maybe they got hurt and couldn't get out. There's a lot of things. It just says they couldn't be found, and then they just found their bodies, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was curious too, like, because it said it'll preparedness. So I'm just wondering, are these amateurs? Did they not know they
Yeah.
needed like, extra gear? And did they not have like a means of communicating with people? Like, how do you die of exposure? Like, you're freezing to death and you just do nothing. You just stay
I mean,
there
you
and
go in the
die. Like,
winter. That's the other thing. Like they went there in winter, not like summer or fall. So
yeah,
that's the other thing. I was like, ooh, who goes for doing that during the winter? I know I wouldn't. Usually,
yeah,
all the
dude.
documentaries you see, it's like late summer or early fall.
Well, let's say
And
you
if
do
it's like
go.
snowing, dude,
Yeah,
that's worse.
if you do go in the winter, you just go with like prepared. I would imagine like jackets, like Noel's kind of alluding to, stuff to start fires. A little tent to protect yourself from the high winds. I would think you would go a little more prepared, unless they were just planning to go for the afternoon and they're like, dude, like me, I just brought a water bottle or two, and they're like, we'll just go out, take some pictures, do a little web blog, and then we'll get back in town and go get blunted. And before you know it, the dudes are trapped out there. Somebody maybe fell. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, well, unfortunately, we'll probably never know, man. But that's just kind of how it goes when you start these like adventures that you don't prepare for, man. The world is a dangerous place, dude, and we get accustomed to this society that we're living, these modern conveniences. But if you go out in the woods and you go out in the wilderness, you better know what you're doing, man, because it could, all change in the blink of an eye, and you're in a situation you can't get out of. And one of these days, somebody will just find you. And thankfully, they were found, right? Like it's worse for somebody to disappear and never find them. So at least, their families can, lay them to rest, and hopefully they rest in peace, and it's condolences to the families. But it just goes to show you, man, you got to respect Mother Nature, dude. And honestly, I do have some respect for the people that believe in it and go out there and actually, they're about it. Like they don't just talk about it; they actually go out there and try to do it. But I just don't understand, like, from a logical perspective, what's to be gained by finding Bigfoot? And if you do find him, let's say you find Bigfoot, what do you think's gonna happen? Are you gonna be safe, or is it gonna kill you? Are
I'll
you gonna be
fuck him up,
friends? And
bro. Come on, bro.
I mean, they didn't say they brought guns or anything. I don't know, man. Like I was just thinking, like if they succeeded and found Bigfoot, like what was gonna happen? That's
Yeah.
like a horror
Well,
movie
it's
waiting to
it,
happen, dude.
I talked about this many podcast episodes ago where I'm like, there's this documentary. There's a group of people, a group of Sasquatch group that their whole goal is to catch or kill a Bigfoot. They're not gonna record it. They'll have that all that ready, but their goal is to catch it because no matter what you bring, any type of video, digital photo evidence, they're gonna just dismiss it. No, that's never gonna suffice. So their goal is to capture or kill and bring in a body. That's their whole goal.
Yeah, and
And
I think you do because I saw a video of like Trump slapping the shit out of Elon Musk, and I don't know if that shit's real. So I got to
yeah,
see it for real in front of me.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with AI now, it's just like, uh, real quick, they're making videos of Bigfoot going around fucking up hunters. I don't know if you've seen that. So like, it's pretty crazy. And then there's videos of AI videos of like John Wilkes Booth live streaming, like, I'm gonna do this right now, man. I gotta do this for America or the South. And he's like running away and he's like live streaming it, like, I did it, man. I kind of messed up my leg, but I'm out of here and they're not gonna catch me. And like, and it looks really fucking like, I mean, look, you could tell it's a little AI-ish, but it looks to the person who you showed that to somebody 10 years ago, or they're gonna be like, damn, is this shit for real? And there's even people like going to AI villages of Vikings and they're interviewing Vikings and they're talking about all their pillaging and shit. And I'm like, damn, this shit looks real.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so that's what I'm saying. It's. I know there's like a law apparently to protect them in the article. It goes into that, but yeah, it's to me, I'm kind of with them. You got to bring in a body, or otherwise, no matter what you do, people are just gonna dismiss it. Even when you do bring in a body, they're gonna say some goofy shit, and it's going to be hard. But you have some physical evidence that you can show, and you allow people to investigate it to have proof that like it's real. But it is what it is. But what it is this episode is up. I want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There, you'll see our links to every platform that we're on. It grows. Some disappear. There's new ones. But if it's on there, there's a link. If it's like, subscribe, comment. But we're just on about everything, wherever you consume or hear podcast. So whenever you do subscribe and hit that like button. For Freeform Radio, we got Danny.
Yes, sir, man. I'm a little hungry. Gonna go get something to eat. So hopefully, Alana's got something set up.
And then we got Noel.
Yeah, everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode. And I'm probably gonna play some Onimusha 2. I just got the PC version, so I'll
Nice.
let you know how that is for the next episode.
Yeah, and we want to thank you guys for listening. It's all good, Andy. And like I said, let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com, and we'll hit you up next time.
Dad.